Have you ever looked in the mirror today and thought, this is not really me? We try so hard to please others that we forget who we are. But the truth is simple. You don't need to be perfect. You are already enough.
This video is not just a story, it is a reminder. A reminder of how we lose ourselves and how we can return to the real us. Long ago, in a quiet village, there was a boy. He laughed whenever the wind caressed the leaves. At night, lulled by the gentle wind, he drifted to sleep. He knew the stars without counting a single one. His heart was bright, needing no reason at all. He lived in simplicity, and to him the world felt kind. He loved to run across the field, barefoot and free. The soft earth touched his feet, and the wind carried the smell of grass. His arms moved wide, as if ready to fly. He chased the light of the sun and laughed with every step. In those moments, there were no plans, no worries, no heavy voices to follow. Only his breath, his steps, and the whisper of the wind. He was not trying to be anyone. He was just a boy, happy to be alive. And in that simple running, he felt complete. Time passed. People came, bringing heavy voices. You must become someone. You must shine. You must do more. The boy, almost a man now, felt something shake inside. Maybe, just maybe, being himself was not enough. So he stood still, in the middle of their voices, not shouting, not resisting, only fading. He ran, not with joy, but because he felt he had to. Not toward his dreams, but toward their expectations. The voices grew louder each day. Be someone. Shine. Do more. Behind him, the quiet things he loved. Ahead of him, only what they wanted. So he ran, afraid of falling behind. He no longer spoke to the birds. The silence of night no longer felt like the sky. He had become loud on the outside, but quiet deep inside. His feet moved with purpose, but his heart was nowhere to be found. One day, he paused. He listened, not to the noise, but to the quiet beneath it. A whisper came from somewhere deep, something old, something true. It asked no question. It gave no command. It only waited. And he, for the first time in years, felt free to answer. One morning, he looked in the mirror. The face looking back did not feel like his own. It had everything they wanted, but nothing he missed. He smiled when expected. He spoke with confidence, but nobody knew. He had stopped doing what he loved. And one day, he realized he no longer recognized himself. In a quiet garden, he met an old man. The old man had kind eyes and a gentle smile. They stood face to face. The old man asked, "Weren't you the boy who once lay in the grass, telling stories to the ants?" The young man, in his clean shirt and polished shoes, nodded slowly. "Yes, I remember. But that was just a child. Now I have goals. I make plans. I move forward." The old man smiled, not because he agreed, but because he remembered. The old man looked at him gently. He asked, "Do you remember what your voice sounded like before the world told you who to be?" The young man lowered his eyes. He stayed silent. The old man continued, "You used to sing to the birds. You used to dance in the rain. You used to dream without asking for permission." The young man whispered, "I think I forgot." The old man smiled, not to correct him, but to remind him. He walked back, not to the past, but to something still waiting. The wind was softer here, the sky still wide. The path was quiet, and his steps were lighter, not fast, but free. For the first time in a long time, he felt no need to prove anything. He stopped walking. He looked up at the sky. For the first time, he didn't feel like he had to be someone else. He didn't need to be perfect. He only needed to be honest with himself. So he took a breath and let go of the voice that said, "You're not enough." The wind felt different now. He was still the same person, but something had shifted. And then he heard a voice behind him. He woke up early, he made his bed, he didn't check his phone, he opened the window and breathed in slowly. He wasn't strong yet, but he wasn't lost anymore. It wasn't a big moment, but it was his, and that made it enough. He stood in his room. The morning light touched the walls. He looked into the mirror and said, "I'm not sure what's next, but I can start with one step." He picked up his notebook. He wrote down a small idea, not perfect, but honest. And he smiled, not because everything was clear, but because he had finally begun. He stood at the doorway. It was not the same house he had left, but it felt familiar. He took a deep breath and stepped inside. He wasn't chasing anything. He was simply choosing his own rhythm, his own way, and it felt quietly right. He took off his shoes. The grass was cold and wet, but it didn't matter. He walked, not for others, not to be seen, but simply because he finally wanted to. For the first time, he felt like himself. And that was enough. He sat down on the grass. No plans, no pressure. He closed his eyes and smiled. No one was watching, but he finally felt free. He didn't need to be more. He was already enough. Maybe you forgot too. Maybe you started living for their voices instead of your own, but it is not too late. You can return to your voice. You can return to yourself. Because the world doesn't need a perfect you. It needs the real you. Enjoyed the content? Hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more videos like this.